your neurodiverse condition impacted your adjustment to COVID-19 and the world largely moving online?
Like, I used to be able to do stuff all day and be fine.
Yeah.
But now, like,
I feel that.
I have, like, 2 things I have to do in one day. And I feel so exhausted because I feel like I've just been doing all this stuff, even though I really haven't been. And I used to do the same amount of activity without being tired before.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just like, even just having like one in-person appointment can just be like
I know.
You think about that the whole day.
Thing. Yeah, it's like this massive thing I have to take care of. The medication that I do take makes me very, it makes it very hard for me to wake up. So I've had these jobs. I'm a barista, so I have jobs where I have to get up. I get up like 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and I go to work. And I sleep in a lot for those jobs because it's hard for me to wake up because of the medication I'm taking. It's not that I don't want to wake up. It's not that I'm like lazy. I will set like 20 alarms, and some days I will sleep through all of them, you know? And I've almost gotten like in big trouble for that, you know? I almost lost my job because of that. Even though it only happens, you know, once in a while. Some employers, like, they just think I'm being like, I'm doing this on purpose, or I'm lazy, or I'm like just not giving a shit about my job, when it's really just something that I have to live with, and I don't like that I have to live with. I don't like being late to my jobs. I feel bad when I'm late. But it's just something that happens, you know? And it's also really hard for me to look people in the eye because of my PTSD. And I remember when I worked at Starbucks, this was like about, let's say like a year ago, my manager there, she sat down with me for like every year you have to meet with your manager to discuss like moving up in the company or whatever, or how you're doing. And she was like giving me this whole like written like corporate letter. She was forced to read out about how like supportive they are of mental health because it's Mental Health Awareness Month, you know, and like reading this whole thing out to me, you know, like the newsletter that she's supposed to read to everybody. And then after she gets done reading that, she's like, okay, also, like, I notice you need to start, you don't look people in the eye. And they probably think that you don't like them because of that. They probably think you're being rude. They probably think, like, you hate them or you don't like them for some reason. And I was like, I can't. I just can't. It's not something I've ever been able to do. I can't look anybody in the eye. I can't look my, like, partner in the eye. I can't look my friends in the eye. Most of the time. It's pretty hard for me. I always look like right next to someone, like their shoulder. It's not like I ignore them. I'm always looking like right here. And I think pretty much everyone who knows me in my daily life knows this, that I do that. It's just kind of a thing I've always done. So I told her that. I was like, I can't. I have PTSD. I can't. I've never been able to do this. And she was like, well, you need to. So you're going to have to figure it out. So it was like, there's something we can do to get you to do that. And I'm like, no, there's not. There's not something you can do to get me to do that. If you want to pay for all my therapy, I would love for you to, but I don't think Starbucks is going to do that.
In what ways does your neurodiverse condition interact with other aspects of your identity? Some examples could include race, gender, culture, sexuality, or other physical or mental disabilities.
It definitely like intertwines a large part of my life, especially when it comes to like dating and my like social aspects of life. It can make it really hard to do things like have friends, interact with people, having like physical relationships and physical touch is really hard for me.
I feel that, yeah, especially like physical touch. It's like both just like the feeling of it, and then if you have any trauma associated with that, it can also be like really scary that way.
Yeah, so a large portion of my PTSD is focused around like physical touch, and so that makes it really hard to interact in a society where people touch.
Yeah, especially American culture.
American culture, people like will hug you, they'll say hi to you and like hug you, and you don't even know them that well, or just like dating, you know, like I can't hug my partner sometimes, and that's just how it is, you know, and that's hard for people to understand, you know, like it's not you, it's just me right now, and like my brain, it's not because I don't like you or something, you know. So.
And then, are there any, like, recommendations you would have for people, like, either people you know personally or just people, like, you've just met as far as how to sort of accommodate that? Or, like, if somebody were just meeting you and they were tempted to hug you or something like that, like, what would you suggest in that situation?
I just think people should ask. You know, if you don't know someone very well, you know, obviously if you know someone and you know they like that, then you don't really need to ask them. But when you're just meeting someone, you know, maybe don't hug me. I don't know you, you know, I'm just meeting you right now. Not being okay with touch in a touch-centered world makes people think you don't like them.
Yeah.
I don't know, I have trouble looking people in the eye. It makes people think I don't like them sometimes. You know, I have trouble talking to people. That makes people think that I don't like them, or like I'm stuck up, or I just think I'm better than them, which is why I'm not talking to them. Yeah, it's just difficult. And people just don't understand. They don't understand the mindset. They don't understand that, like, I just have different reasons for not talking or not interacting a certain way with you than most people, you know? And so I think a lot of people think I don't like them because of how I act.
Describe the moment that you realized your brain operated differently from a neurotypical brain.
I think I probably realized this in, like, middle school when I realized that people didn't feel the same way as me. I always felt the same, you know, I've been depressed since I was, like, very young. So learning that, like, it's not normal to feel like you hate your life all the time. You know, it's not normal to be anxious of everything, you know. And I didn't realize that for a while. Like, I thought just everyone had that. That was just, like, how you lived your life. You know, because also, like, my parents contributed to that. Something you thought that everyone had, like, almost no one has. So you just feel very alone and, like, what's wrong with me? Like, I don't like this. Am I ever going to get better? You know.
Yeah, and it's so much harder when it's intergenerational, too. It's like you can find parental figures elsewhere, but it's like, you know.
Yeah. My dad was severely mentally ill, too. He was always very bad at being a dad, you know, because he was just too mentally ill. He couldn't function. He couldn't even take care of himself. But, you know, she was like, my mom said that he loves us the only way he knows how. You know, he loves us the best he can. And I feel like that really stuck with me because that's very true. You know, mentally ill people love you the best they can. And a lot of times that's not enough. And that's okay. It's okay that that's not enough, you know? I feel like we shouldn't feel bad for saying that's not enough because it's not, you know? Quite frankly, it's not, you know? But it doesn't mean they don't love you, even if they love you in a really up way, you know?
Yeah, and it's okay to, like, honor your own feelings on that, too.
Yeah, and it is. It's okay to be like, they love me in a way, and that's not enough, and it's not healthy. But they love me, you know? And that's, like, a really hard thing to wrap your head around is, like, sometimes people's love isn't good. It's not healthy, you know? But it's what they know. And that was really something I had to learn with my mom. Was that, you know, it's just the best she can do. It's not good enough. It's not healthy. It doesn't make me feel good. But it was the best she could do, especially, like, when I was younger.
What or who has helped you most in identifying your strengths and accepting your identity as a neurodivergent person?
Honestly, probably just, like, art and media and, like, other people's experiences. I like to read a lot of, like, books and graphic novels about it. It's probably, like, my favorite, like, subject for those things. And, like, just looking at other people's art about it, and just talking to other people who've had similar experiences, even if it's just, like, reading their blog posts online about it. But that can also be really dangerous because you kind of get in this, like, echo chamber. It just becomes this, like, big group of everyone who hates each other and hates themselves. You know, it's not really friendship. That's just everyone who hates themselves hanging out together.
It's kind of trauma bonding.
Yeah, it's trauma bonding. And I think trauma bonding isn't healthy. Like, it used to be, like, the basis of all my friendships. But if you build friendships on trauma, they're all just going to be about trauma. They're not going to be about anything else. You know, you're not going to enjoy anything. You're only going to see, you know, each other for the shared experience.
Yeah, and on the other hand, it's like, it's hard because it's hard to relate to people that have never gone through anything, because it's just like, you'll open up about something and then they'll be like, well,
I don't know what to do about that, you know. Yeah, definitely feeling like you don't fit with anyone is definitely a big part of being mentally ill, I feel like.
Totally, yeah. Do you have any ideas as to like how, I mean, obviously this doesn't follow you, but if you had any ideas about how to better represent mental illness in the media, what would you suggest?
I would suggest getting actually mentally ill people to write these, you know, or like at least interview them. You know, at least do what you're doing right now. At least ask someone with, you know, ask some people with the mental illness you're portraying, like, how does it affect their daily lives, instead of just like going off of stereotypes, or like that edgy kid you knew in high school who used to like say they cut themselves to scare you. It's like that movie, it was like Precious. It's either like that.
Oh, yeah,
where you're like, just everything went wrong for you. Like, you were raped, you got pregnant, your like dad died, you're failing school, or you're like evil. And there's no in between. There's no one who's just like nothing, you know, like there's a couple things wrong with me. It's never that. It's always just like everything's wrong, or you're just evil.
How have you reconfigured your own life in unique ways to suit your learning, emotional, sensory, or other needs?
I think with working, though, I have to like limit like how much I can work, when I can work. I have to give myself breaks after work. Like, I won't just go do something right away after work. Like, after work, I will get off and I will spend like an hour at home just laying in bed.
Same.
You know, like maybe eat something. I won't just do like work and then something immediately after.
That makes sense. Yeah, me too. It's like, I don't understand how people can just do things back to back and then they don't have to like spend 2 hours just like sitting there, you know?
Yeah, or I take a lot of naps. I do a lot of napping.
If you could change one societal expectation, what would it be and why?
I would love to be able to like go to school like midnight.
Oh, that would be so nice.
Like, sleep until like noon and go to school at midnight. Like, that is the type of stuff that would work with my schedule and like the way my brain works.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I feel like it would be nice if we just normalize sleep in general. Like, it feels like it's so normal for everybody to be sleep deprived all the time, when it's like that should not be a standard.
Yeah, I feel like my brain is most awake at night. It's not awake during the day. So I have trouble falling asleep, and then I have trouble staying awake. So I feel like society should just operate like on a more 24-hour basis, but like it would be optional. You know, like I feel like some people could be awake at night, and some people could be awake during the day, and I'm just like, everyone would have just like a different schedule. You know, and that's okay, because like that's your choice. You know, it's not weird, or like, you know, you can't really go to the store or have a job at, you know, midnight.
Yeah, that would be so nice. And like, I've been to cities in Asia, and it feels like there's so many more 24-hour places, whereas here it's like, I get it, I get the balance, but also I'm sure there's some people that would prefer to work the night shift, you know? What is a common misconception surrounding your disability or disabilities that you wish more people understood?
I think for PTSD, one of my biggest issues is that people, when they get like, someone has like a different opinion than them, someone says something kind of mean, you know, there's something slightly upsetting, they'll say like, that triggers me.
Oh.
And it's like, that's not like, you're upset, you know, you're offended, you're maybe sad, you're maybe disturbed. Those are like all okay emotions to have, but you're not triggered. Like, when I'm triggered, I am like brought back into those moments, you know, like I am there, you know, like I'm in a flashback. I have this like deep feeling of dread, you know, throughout my body. It feels like someone's pouring like cold water on me, you know, like I'm not just upset, you know. And I feel like the word triggered has become this like term for like, I'm upset or I'm offended, you know, when that's not it, you know, that's not what it's about. So if I say like, this is a trigger for me, people are like, oh, you're just upset, you're just offended, you know, I just said something you didn't like. And it's like, no, like, I have things that are a trigger for me. But it's also that, like, that balance of like, I guess, that the world doesn't come with trigger warnings. You're just in the world. But you don't have very many people who are, like, using the word triggered and, like, trigger warnings appropriately. Because you either have people who are just putting on everything, or you have people who are putting on nothing. You know?
That makes sense.
And people who might be mocking it because they just take it. Because it's become construed to just mean, like, I'm offended, you know? And it's fine to be offended. It's okay to be offended or upset or disturbed by something, you know? But that's a different word. You know, I'm disturbed, I'm upset, I'm offended. I don't like this. Like, that's okay. Like, let's say that, you know? Those are okay words to use.